Hey guys, it's Mike from Indie Development, and we're going to answer a community question we had here about another way to create a game for the Android. So if you look at our TicTacToe tutorial that we went through, we had just a grid of basically 3 columns, 3 rows, and you can play throughout the game here to see, put an X and O and just regular tic-tac-toe rules. Now the question was, well, what if I wanted to put 3 game pieces at the top and 3 at the bottom, and then check to see, for vertical, horizontal, and diagonal wins, except for, the row that they started on, they couldn't win that way. So, just like we did here, we click, we could play, and it would say who wins and that kind of thing. So if we go back, I'll show you what we're going to end up making here. It'll be the GamePiece tutorial we got here. So we're going to start with 3 red circles at the top, 3 blue circles at the bottom, and an open row in the middle. And you'll see whose turn it is at the bottom. You can click, it'll show selection, and now it's the blue's turn. So if we go ahead and move red down, you'll see that red's going to win when it moves here. Now the other way you could win would be diagonally. I'll show that real quick. So you see blue goes first this time. So now you see blue wins from the diagonal there. Now the other way you could win is to say if you got your pieces from the top row here to the bottom row. So I'll show that. So now when the red moves here, that red's going to win. So that's what we're going to make, is a game like this, and then you guys can use that to make your own version or whatever. So we'll exit this out and we'll shrink this down. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and create our project. So we'll go to File, New, Android Application Project, application name, let's call it GamePiece Tutorial. Y'all can call yours whatever you want. So I just do GamePiece. Alright, and we're going to go ahead, I'll show you about the new create custom launcher icon. I know since the last time I made a tutorial from scratch here, we didn't actually have this to look at, so I'm not sure how many of you guys have used this. So go ahead and click next. Now you see here, this is something new from before, so you click on the image here. I've already made an image, a very simple one. So now as you see, if we'll expand this back up, we made a circle in here with the black behind it. So I'm going to show you what if you can change the background color by simply clicking here and clicking like that, but we're going to go with none. You can see here that you could do a square, circle, things like that. So if we go ahead and click on next, we'll do a blank activity. Next, we're going to call that activity, we can leave it main activity. Leave the layout as activity underscore main, that's fine. We're going to call this title it GamePiece, and click finish. Alright, so now we've got our project made here. It's loading it up. Alright, so you get the basic hello world, but we'll come back and we'll edit this in the next series, in the next part of this series. So let's go ahead and close that down for now. Let's go up here to our source. We'll right click, new class. We're going to call this one GamePiece. So if we go up here to the name, click finish. Alright, so what we're going to put in here is just going to be something simple. You guys may need a more elaborate GamePiece, but for us we're just going to use a private string color. Go ahead and put in our constructor. Just going to take a color. And well, what we'll do, instead of doing this dot color, we'll put in some, we'll use getters and setters. So public, and another cool way, let me show you how you can do this real quick instead of having to type it out. I'm not sure if anybody, how many of you guys know this. So you can put your mouse over it, create getter and setter for color. You can set the names here. I'm just going to keep it at default. Go ahead and click OK. So I like to move mine up above, like so. So now we can just do this dot set color, or yeah. Actually, we'll just do this dot color equals whatever color's passed in. But this will allow us to set this outside of this class. So basically, it gives us a way to access this private string from outside the class, and you'll see that. Go ahead and save that one. So we'll right click here, going to go new class, and this one we're going to call GameBoard. Go ahead and click finish. So inside here we're going to use a few things. Some of it's going to look similar to the TicTacToe Java file that we made before. So if we look at the game board here, we're going to do a private GamePiece, since we're going to have an array of game pieces. Call that GameBoard. Private final static int. Since we only don't ever have 9 pieces to the board, we can put that there. We'll need a getter for that. Okay, well, it's final. I'll find. Okay, after that, let's go and make our constructor. Okay, so we want to go ahead and initialize our game board. Oops. Goes new game piece. Okay, so now we've done that. Instead of just putting the code here to continue and initialize all the pieces, let's go ahead and we're going to make something called clearboard, and that way we don't have to put it in 2 places, because we're going to clear the board when we make a new game anyway. So we'll just set up the initial board through that as well. So if I would view void clearboard. Alright, so now we want to basically reset the board to its initial state. So how are we going to do that? We're going to use a for loop. When I equals 0, I is less than whatever the board size is. And we do I++. Okay. So now we know we need to have the 3 red pieces to start at the top, 3 blue pieces to start at the bottom, and the middle row we want to be blank. So let's go ahead. So if the index is equal to 0, or the index is equal to 1, or index is equal to 2. We want these to be red, right? So we'll do GameBoard I equals new game piece. We'll pass in the string of red so we know it's red. So basically, if I was just to open up Notepad here, just to kind of let you guys visualize this. So we got, our array is going to start at 0, so we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if our index is 0, 1, and 2, we want these to start out as being red pieces. 6, 7, and 8 we want to start out being blue pieces, and 3, 4, and 5 we want to be the blank pieces. So we have that out of the way. Let's go ahead and finish this out. So we can do else if I equals 6, oops, or I equals 7, or I equals 8. Then we want the game board equals new game piece. So we're going to make these blue. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. And then else is so if it's not a red or a blue piece, we only got 3 pieces left, and we need to make those into the blank spots. Oops. And there's other ways you could do, decide how to keep track of which piece is which, but this is a pretty simple way to do it. So now we've got that, we can come up here, so now we can use this method here. Alright, so basically, whenever we make a new object of this GameBoard class, we're going to go ahead and initialize our array to be with an array size of 9. So it would be 0 through 8, and then we're going to run the clearboard method here, which is going to go ahead and set up our board and assign the pieces where they need to be. Alright, so now next thing we need to do, we need to be able to set moves, so let's set that up. So public void set move string, we'll take a color string, which will be red, blue, red or blue. We need a starting location, and we need a ending location, so we know where we're moving from and where we're moving to. Alright, so basically we're going to do game board start location dot set color, and it's going to be blank, and then game board in location dot set color is going to be color. So basically we're going to take the first game piece that we click on, which will be here. We're going to set that one to blank since we're moving out of that spot, and then we're going to take the ending location, which will be here, and set that color to whatever color was passed in, because we don't know what that's going to be yet, but whatever's been clicked on before, it'll pass through to that. So if we clicked on a red piece and then clicked on a blank spot, that was a valid move. We want it to take it from that red piece from this location, turn it blank since the red piece is leaving it, to the location we clicked on, which is the blank space before, and set that color to whatever color we pass in. Alright, so the only other thing we really need to do here is be able to check for a winner. So it's probably going to look really familiar to the tic-tac-toe that we did before. Alright, so check for win. And it's going to be red underlined right now because we haven't returned any values. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to return 0 for no winner, return 1 for red wins, and we'll return 2 for blue wins. Alright, so first thing we need to do, let's go ahead and check for the horizontal wins. Alright, so what we're going to do with that is we need to check each of the 3 rows and see if they're red or blue. But we can't, you got to remember, red starts at the top, blue starts at the bottom, so if red's at the top, we don't want that to be a win, only if they're horizontal across the bottom, and blue would be the opposite. So here we're using the getter for the color of the current piece. So if that was equal to blue, so if the very first in the row here, so if we look at this here again, We want to see if this is blue or if this is blue. Those will be valid wins. If this is red or if this is red, that'll be a valid win. And then of course diagonal, any color, and up and down vertical will be any color. So if 0, index of 0, index of 1, and 2, so if all this is true, we're going to return 2, because we see here that we're returning 2 if blue wins. Okay, so basically this is if the top row is filled blue pieces. Alright, so now let's do, need to check the middle row to see if it's filled with blue or red pieces. Alright, so what we're going to do here is if GameBoard, and of course the middle row, like we were looking at before, will be 3, 4, 5. So 3, get color is red, and GameBoard 4, get color is red, and GameBoard 5, get color is equal to red. That means we're going to return a 1 because red is 1. Alright, another thing we need to check for, which will be the same thing as if these are blue pieces. So copy paste, highlight these and then hit shift tab to kick it back a little bit. So this will be 2 because blue will win. We need to change this to blue, whoops, and blue. So if the middle row is filled with red pieces, return 1 because red is 1. Middle row is full of blue pieces, blue is 1, so we'll return a 2. Alright. So now we need to check the bottom row. So if the bottom row is filled with red pieces, so it's going to be just the same as this up here, except it's going to just copy and paste this down here. Save time a little bit. Highlight this, shift tab, and this is actually just going to be 6, 7, 8 because that's the bottom row. If that is true, then we're going to return a 1 because that means that red is 1 because they're at the bottom row now. So that's got the horizontal. So now we need to check for vertical wins. Alright, so how are we going to do that? Basically what we're going to do is it's going to be condensed just like in the TicTacToe tutorial. Basically the same setup for this as it was for that. Just do a for loop. I equals 0, I is less than or equal to 2. I plus plus. Okay. So if GameBoard get color is equal to red, and GameBoard I plus 3, and I'll go over this again in case you don't remember exactly what we did in TicTacToe and show you why this would work. Red and GameBoard I plus 6, get color equals red. So if that's true, we want to return a 1 because that means red 1, and we see up here we're returning 1 for red, 2 for blue. So we'll just copy this, paste, highlight, and you don't have to resituate that if you don't want to, but I just like to keep everything consistent. Change this to blue, return this as a 2. Okay, now just to show why this will work. Alright, so if I is 0, so this is 0 right here, so I is this. If that's red, now we want to add 3 to it. So 1, 2, 3, which would make it 3. So now these two are red, the first two, 0 and 3. So now if we add 6 to 0, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which would be here. So if that right there, all those are red, that means it's a vertical win. So then we're going to go through and iterate again, which will just move it over 1. So it'll be 1, 4, 7. If those are red or blue, that'll be a win. And we're going to do one more time, which will move it over one more time with 2, 5, and 8, which means if those are red or blue, that means that we have a winner. Okay. Alright, so now we need to check for the diagonal wins, and we're done with this file. So okay, I guess I can put the whole thing. Check for diagonal wins. Now how are we going to do that? Basically the same way that we did in the tic-tac-toe. So we'll just do if GameBoard0 dot color red and GameBoard 4 get color is red and GameBoard 8, and I'll go over this again too. And we want to do OR here. And it will be 2, 4, 6 for this. And GameBoard. Alright, so now that we got that, that means we will return a 1 because red will win. Now just to go over, let's go ahead and copy and paste this real quick. Change this. Okay, so just to look at this real quick, kind of explain in case anybody's forgot what we did on the last one. So you see here the diagonal wins are 0, 4, and 8, 2, 4, and 6 are your only two possible diagonal wins. So what we did there is we just checked 0, 4, and 8 if all those are red, or if 2, 4, and 6 are all red, then we return a 1. And the same thing for the blue. So now if we just end this, if no wins are found, return 0 to keep playing. So all we're going to do here is return 0. So basically what we're doing here is we're, same thing, checking horizontal wins, checking the vertical wins, checking the diagonal wins, and if we find no winner in any of that, we'll go ahead and return 0 and let the game know to keep playing. So now in our next video, we'll actually go in and we'll set up our layout, and then after that we will go ahead and code our activity so we can play our game. So I hope you guys were able to keep up with this. I went kind of fast, but I try to keep just in case somebody's not watched the TicTacToe series before, I try to explain it enough to where they can pick up on what we're doing here. So hope you guys like it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.